So today I am joined by my husband, Sean. We are both participating in the Rereadathon. This is a readathon that is focused on rereading books.
There's a few things I would like to reread, so now I have to wait until the Rereadathon to reread them.
I'll have all of the dates and all of the information for the Rereadathon down below. I made a whole video detailing it, but there are prompts for each of the 7 days during the Rereadathon, and we tried to coordinate what books we're going to be rereading with the prompts. You can overlap them, and the prompts are as follows. Giving a book a second chance, a recent favorite, an old favorite, a game changer, an unpopular book, a childhood favorite, and a popular book.
My books are all picture books, so I'm trying to read a different book for each prompt. So for the second chance prompt, I'm going to read Mr. Miracle by Tom King and Mitch Gerads. I think it falls under second chance because I read the first 6 issues digitally as it came out, and then I was like, I wasn't really feeling it.
Wasn't on the hype train.
Yeah, so I stopped, and now it's all out. So I'm gonna read it on Hoopla, be a loser, read it for free, and see if I like it more.
The second chance prompt was a little tricky for me because generally speaking, if I don't care for something or if I'm not feeling it, I either stop reading it, so I never really finished it, or I've decided I'm pretty sure that I don't like it. So the book that I chose isn't one that I disliked. I read the whole thing and I enjoyed it, but I want to reread it and maybe see if I absolutely love it and if I think it's as good as a lot of other people do, and that would be 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Most of you already know what 6 of Crows is about. It's a heist story that follows a cast of characters, quite a few different characters, and you get a lot of their backstories. And the first time I read it, I remember thinking that it felt very cinematic, so I'm kind of excited for the adaptation that's going to be coming to Netflix. And I enjoyed it, but it took so long for me. I haven't read the second one, so I feel like it's been so long that I need to pick this one up again, and maybe I'll love it now that I know it's not super action-packed and it's honestly more of a character development type story.
So my recent favorite is good old H-E double hockey sticks boy. This is the first library edition. I read Hellboy digitally, I think in October, yeah, because it was Halloween. And I read it for the first time and I thought, wow, that's so great. It's so amazing. I have to have it in the best available thing, giant edition. So really looking forward to reading this. The colors are beautiful. The pages are giant. It's gonna be fun.
This one is going to fit the recent favorite and the game changer. So the game changer category is supposed to be a book that kind of introduced you to a new genre, and that would be the Dresden Files, because while I love fantasy, and this is sold in the adult fantasy section, it's more paranormal fantasy, maybe even urban fantasy, kind of, sort of, because it takes place in our own world, it follows a wizard detective, and I think these are so fun. But I've only read the first couple, and then I stopped reading them, not because I didn't want to pick them up anymore, but because I just always ended up picking other things up. But I have so much fun with these, and so I want to restart them and then kind of consistently work my way through them.
So next up for old favorite, this is Fables by Bill Willingham. I feel like this is what got me back into comic books, if memory serves, a couple years ago. So I'm looking forward to revisiting at least this first volume, and maybe I'll just start binging the rest of the series. It's very good. I enjoy it quite a bit. It is about fairy tale creatures and characters who have left their homeland and now live in New York City. They were actually driven from their homeland. It wasn't like a...
Driven makes it sound like somebody drove them. They were pushed out of their homeland.
They were exiled. Well, yeah. They left because bad things were happening. And now they live in New York City. And it's just a jolly good time.
And Big B Wolf is their sheriff.
That is true.
It's awesome.
The big bad wolf.
The book that I picked for an old favorite, I think is going to surprise a lot of people to know that I really love this book. But that would be A Walk to Remember by Nicholas Sparks. It is a love story. It's a very sad, tragic love story, but there's a lot of hope in it. And it was a really beautiful story that when I read as a teenager, I really enjoyed, and I was surprised how much I liked it because I'm not particularly sappy. I I love a good romance within a story, but I rarely like it to be at the forefront of the story, and this one is kind of an exception, but I loved it, and I'm pretty ready to reread it.
So for the game changer category, I've selected Full Metal Alchemist. This is something I bet your subscribers have never heard of. It's this really niche manga, and there's an anime, if you didn't know.
I think there's like two.
There's two of
something.
them. But this is what got me into manga. At first I was hesitant, but now I feel like I'm fairly...
You read a lot of manga.
Yeah,
now.
I'm like a young apprentice. I really like Full Metal Alchemist. I'm sure you all know what it's about, and if you don't, there's another video you can watch.
Like any other video I talk about.
Right. Metal arm brother, metal suit arm brother.
It's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna read it. And this is the first time reading this edition, so it's kind of cool.
Since Dresden filled the other category, the game changer category for me, I'm gonna move on now to the unpopular book, and I picked Roar by Cora Carmack. This is a young adult fantasy book, and it's the first in a series, but the author had some health problems, and the release was supposed to be last year for the sequel, but because of her health problems, they were really nice, her publishers, and were very understanding, and they extended when the release date would be. So now the release is for this summer, and I really want to reread this so that I can remind myself of everything that happened, maybe do a review for it, because I found this quite enjoyable. And I thought the magic was kind of interesting. It's based off of storms, which I thought was really cool, and it follows this heir to a throne who runs away, and she's in disguise, and it's a little tropey, but it's a trope I like.
My unpopular book is The Nightly News by Jonathan Hickman. I don't really have a reason to think that it's unpopular, except that I don't hear it talked about much. So this is Jonathan Hickman's first published work, I think, for Image at least, and it is his art and his writing. So it's not a super fun time. That's almost what I said. It's actually quite dark and depressing, but that's okay. It's fun.
The next prompt would be childhood favorite, and I picked the first book in the Bartimaeus trilogy. This is something that I just remember absolutely loving, and I found it to be very, very witty and fun and hilarious and a good time and a good story. This trilogy, I think, has one of the best endings to any trilogy, doesn't matter the age range. I absolutely love the ending. And so I want to pick this back up. It is also, because it's middle grade, it fits for, if you guys watch Books and Jams, she is doing the middle grade March. And so I figured this would be a perfect way to kind of combine the middle grade March and also the Rereadathon.
I'm gonna be reading some Spider-Man comics by John Michael Straczynski. I think that's his name, hopefully. I'm gonna have to look that up.
How dare you, you're not a real comic book fan.
Yeah, how dare I? And the art, I think, in that is by John Romita Jr. There you go. I really like John Romita Jr.'s art. I think I might have nostalgia goggles a little bit for this era of Spider-Man because I grew up with it. I mean, aside from like the Spider-Man cartoon, animated cartoon, I'm sure some of you know what I'm talking about. This was my Spider-Man, this era of Spider-Man. So I love it. I don't know if it's as well loved by everybody, but it's my childhood favorite. Yeah, it's my personal favorite.
So the last prompt is a popular book, which I thought Six of Crows already fit that, so I'm already done with mine, but he has one more.
I have Hawkeye by Matt Fraction and David Aja. I think this is a pretty popular one. I think so. I feel like it's popular enough where now I'm starting to see like backlash where it's like, it's not that good. And it's like,
oh, it's made it then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's great. It's a great series, and it's not too long. It knows its length. It's like 20-something issues. It's perfect.
That's it for our Rereadathon. TBRs, like I said, I'll have all the details and the video where I talk about it in depth in the description bar down below. Just so you know, you're probably going to want to check out the details because there are 21 chances to win giveaways, and it'll be a lot of fun. By the way, our adorable precious puppy Luna is asleep at our feet, so we're gonna show you guys. So there's our feet, and there's our little puppy. She fell asleep with the leash on. We didn't want to wake her up because she's so precious.
Thank you so much for watching. Drive safe if you're driving, and have a good evening.
Or day, whenever you're watching this.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Bye.